Sorry, it's taken me so long to make another video, but I've been really busy.
Hey Matt, are you still making Theater Throwdown?
No, I know what you're thinking. Matt, you've only posted like 5 videos and you've already started 3 projects and you're not finishing the other 2. And yeah, you're right. That's a valid concern. And we'll get back to why I'm doing this in a bit. But first, I'm going to tell you what my new game is. So when I was 10, my brother and I got the original Legend of Zelda for the NES and played it. And my brother wasn't super into it. He likes a sort of a more linear style of gameplay. And I was all over it, dude. The secrets, the dungeons, the puzzles, the old people. I was so into it, dude. They say you should make stuff that you can enjoy. So I've decided to scale back even more and make a game that's pretty much along the lines of just the original Legend of Zelda. You're a guy, you get a sword, you explore a world, and that's the game. So the reason that I've switched projects again is that even with Theater Throwdown, a game that was supposed to be small in scale, I ran into the same roadblock. See, when I was in high school, I played what is now my favorite game of all time, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Have y'all seen this game? It's wild. It has, I would argue, some of the best pixel art in, like, any game ever. So in high school, after playing this game, I started putting what some might call way too much work into the art of my games. It really culminated in that Spooky House game. I mean, that was some of my best artwork. It's too bad that game makes me too sad to work on it, because it was a really cool idea. So fast forward to a little while after my last video, and I'm working on the background art for the movie theater. The movie theater is, of course, based on the one that I worked at when I was a kid, but even recreating that meant putting an insane amount of detail in. Now I had designed the concessions counter, and it had taken me like 5 hours to do so, and I accidentally deleted all my work. I thought to myself, when your stupid brain tells you that everything you make has to look as good as the best looking thing you've ever seen, you really get bogged down in the artwork and never move on from it. And it was right. Look at Ondine's Curse. Look at Theater Throwdown. The only reason these games never got finished is because of how complex the artwork is, and how so much design had to go into every single room to accomplish my vision of what it was supposed to be. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just make a game that used like 3 backgrounds and a grand total of like 10 palette swapped textures that I could just copy paste around a big open world? Wouldn't it be cool if a really visually simple game like that could still be really good? Yeah. Yeah, that would be really cool. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a game that looks like a game that I already like. Whatever, I'm not above it. Everything takes inspiration from somewhere, and if we're gonna talk about carbon copies of Zelda, I wouldn't say I'm the one that needs to be worried. Now, when I told my brother about the game, he brought up the problem of the lack of originality, and you know what? He makes an excellent point. Besides the little gameplay differences, what thematically makes my game meaningfully different from the original Zelda? Well, we talked, and I did bring up the fact that in Zelda you have to beat every dungeon to win the game, whereas in mine, the player can theoretically go from the spawn to the final boss, and everything you do in between starting and finishing the game serves to make the final boss easier. Closer in form to Breath of the Wild, really, than the original, but while it's true that the minutiae of my game makes it different to the original in a number of ways, at its core, it's not different. And that's okay. It's still just a world full of neat little secrets and adventures. At the end of the day, originality of gameplay isn't really that important. Look at Spec Ops: The Line. That's a game that plays no differently to any modern shooter game. The thing that shines about it is the story, and the story even takes inspiration from other stories. Look at Symphony of the Night. It's just a platformer. It's the artwork that makes that stand out, but even that draws inspiration from elsewhere. Look at any game you love, and you'll see that it takes little bits and pieces from other good games. Nothing is totally original. What matters is how the designer takes what came before it and adds to it or changes it. All the best games mix in a little bit of originality with what inspired their creator to create. That's all I'm doing, adding a little bit of originality to the things that made me want to create.